Welcome along to the London Stadium, where they've just kicked off actually between West Ham and Burnley. I'll give you the two lineups in just a second. But Burnley making the same 11 that started to actually beat Everton last week by an half-time change by Sean Dyche. West Ham, he called Joe Hart in goal. Referee Lee Mason from Bolton. But as soon as we get a break in play, I'll run through the two 11s for you, as Collins cuts that ball out down the left hand side. We are live with you now, full commentary now of the game, and it's Burnley in the white shirts here today. Joe Hart getting the nod in goal. As soon as we get to break in play, I'll bring you the two teams. The comment section is there. No, just questions on the gameplays today. No silly comments on the game. So the ball out to play on the near side. Let me give you the Clarets lineup first. Pope in goal, then it's Lawton, Tolkowski, and Ward across the back. Lennon, Cork, Westwood and Goodmanson in the midfield 4. Henrik playing in the number 10 role behind Ashley Barnes on the bench. And Kundu, Marnie, Volks, Wood, Lindegaard, Barsley and Long. Well, West Ham's Ward gets that ball out for another throw and a little bit of a knee juggling exercise from Sean Dyche. So it's Hart in goal for West Ham, Zabaleta, Collins, O'Connor and Questwell, Chiuretti, Noble the captain, Antonio Lanzini, Mario and Arnautovic completing their lineup. On the substitutes, bench Jordan Hugo, Adrian Hernandez, Evra, Cohen, Rice and Brown, and here's Arnautovic now for West Ham. Zabaleta making the outside break. 2 minutes 22 seconds gone here at the London Stadium. Chiuretti, number 8, trying to thread his way through. And the ball back now to Collins, who's wearing number 19 today for West Ham United. Gets a long ball forward up towards Lanzini, but the ball straight to Nick Pope in an all dark with orange trim goalkeeping jersey. Well, 40 points was achieved last week against Everton for Sean Dyche. Now the next proper objective now is to try and get as many points on the board from now to the end of the season, possibly finishing the top 7 in the European spot. And what better way to do it than a win today at West Ham, as the cross comes in for the balls on the far side. Goodmanson going for it, told to was Barnes, but Joe Hart on his return. Good capable handling for him. And it'd be interesting to see how the two goalkeepers go about their business. It's a Burnley throw in actual fact. You got Pope away to my right, who has kept 10 clean sheets, the most of any English goalkeeper. I'm very disappointed that the Premier League didn't include him in the reckoning for the Golden Glove Award. And of course you've got at the other end as Ward disputes a decision there. The ball apparently just dropped out of play on the near side. And you got Joe Hart, who's been really under fire, been making mistakes the last 2 or 3 years, left, right and centre. Surely his spot as England's number 1 must come to an end. Well, this is the way it is at the moment. We're coming up after just about 5 o'clock this afternoon, after a commentary on this game. Well, we'll bring you the full classifieds from up and down the UK. England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland. Before we leave you, hopefully we'll get some reaction from this game this afternoon. Earlier today, remember, Manchester United beat Liverpool in a real classic at Old Trafford. 2-1. 2 goals from Marcus Rashford and an own goal by Barry. With the scorers in that game. Covered this corresponding game last year for the YouTube channel, where we saw a controversial penalty given against Burnley, and they missed 3 great opportunities there. Stuart Pearce down on the near side, a former West Ham player, Nottingham Forest and Newcastle man. Former manager of Manchester City, of course. That's a foul surely there on one of the Burnley players on the far side. I think it was actually Barnes. Creswell, I think, the player who was penalised there. 5 minutes gone here at the London Stadium. West Ham 0, Burnley 0. As we now go quickly out of winter, as we head towards Easter now, going into the latter stages of the league season. Of course, the sun is out in the capital as the 3 kick comes in towards the West Ham penalty area. A little flick on, which is just wide. I think it was Ben Mee in there from the back. He handled forward, do well. Tarkowski as well come up from the back too, but he got a good header, but not the purchase on it. We got away from his man James Collins, It could have caused a few butterfly moments there in that West Ham backline, but the ball just wide of the target. Hart with the right foot, kicks away now for West Ham. 0-0 it is here on the Clarets Match Live, although it is these three as the Match Live. We just didn't have time to put the Clarets title in, but it is Burnley we're covering today. And of course tomorrow hopefully we'll have a live game for you. We're not sure whether it's going to be the Old Firm derby or the Arsenal game, with one of the earlier kickoffs. Here come Burnley, who we saw last week on the Clarets Match Delayed beat Everton 2-1. A real seesaw comeback, and they played some really good football. They actually started okay here. Here's Barnes. Barnes surely was held there by Collins. Referee Lee Mason, who listeners will be very familiar about when we covered Burnley Arsenal earlier on in the season, and he gave some of the most appalling decisions I have ever witnessed in all my time of watching football. He gave some very baffling decisions against the Clarets, not to mention a penalty. Now what's happened here? Now is he giving it to Burnley? I hope he has, Lee Mason, because he's a lot to prove to me. It's Tarkowski that's been fouled, and he's holding his knee. I hope that's not serious. Oh, took one there for the team there, Tarks. That should be a yellow card then, shouldn't it? Well, I would say that's a yellow card. I think Juan Mario should be in the book there. I think the Portuguese international, I think he should be in the book, shouldn't he? Because it was a high tackle. I can't believe Lee Mason's not booked him for that. Considering his incompetence against Arsenal in the season, he's got a lot to prove, this referee from Bolton. He really has. Here's the free kick taken by me towards the edge of the penalty area on the far side. Here comes Lowton. Lowton trying to ready to hack Lennon. I think Lennon has made a big difference. Absolutely anonymous is with me, and apparently, and he'll bring us some later scores. Newcastle have scored against Southampton. I predicted a 1-0 win in that one. If you were watching YouTube last night, I know Russ was, and I know Chris Whiteman, aka Mike Clare 94, would have had a look at that in great interest. But Newcastle 1, Southampton 0. Big game that at the bottom, and West Brom have taken the lead. Now that is a turn up. I didn't honestly think they'd score today, and they proved me wrong. I don't think I'm going to win the TalkSport Predict £1 million now thanks to that. Well, I wasn't going to anyway, because Manchester United had won and I backed Liverpool to win 3-1. So Newcastle 1, Southampton 0, and West Brom 1, Leicester 0 are two early goals that have got in. We're 8 minutes into this one here at the London Stadium, and it's still 0-0 between West Ham and Burnley. Burnley starting the day in 7th. West Ham have sort of tumbled down the table in recent weeks, and were hammered 4-1 at Swansea last week. 3 kick there. Foul there by Kurati or Westwood. I think that's the right decision. But Lee Mason has really got a lot to prove, because the last time we covered him on the Clarets Match Live, he was an absolute disgrace of a referee that afternoon. To give a penalty like he did to Arsenal was the worst thing I've ever seen in quite a long time. Well, it's probably the worst referee performance we've seen all season. Kurati is on the floor injured. There are 2 West Ham physio staff on the field here, and this I'm afraid doesn't look good for him. He's got on the bench Moyes. He's got Hugo, who Preston fans will remember scored lots of goals for them, came for £9 million in January. Adrian, the goalkeeper, Javier Hernandez, Patrice Evra, the former Manchester United player, Josh Cullen, Rice and Brown, the 2 youngsters, so 3 youngsters actually, sorry, on the bench. Apologies to the commentary desk being a little bit Pete Tong at the moment. We're just past the 10-minute mark, and we are in the middle of a delay. You're missing absolutely nothing. Some of the substitutes warming up. I would try to see it with either a bit of a coin toss between Rice or Cullen, who will probably come on should David Moyes not feel the risk to continue Kurati here, which would be a big blow for West Ham. all things considered here. The good news is he's on his feet. So at least we're going to have at least another 2 minutes at the end of the first half for sure. The stoppages as he comes onto the field. I think he's going to be okay. I think. At least he's down there walking. So later scores, as I say, Newcastle 1, Southampton 0. Big game at the bottom of the Premier League. If Southampton were to lose that one, they will be really in some trouble. But West Brom, Alan Pardew in the job there as that free kick comes in. Hart with a fist, but not very far, I'm afraid. Here's a chance now for Goodmanson on the left hand side. Goodmanson not giving Noble much time. Noble went down. There was a little push possibly there by Goodmanson, who holds his hands to his face in horror because he felt he hardly touched the lad. But it's a free kick to West Ham. We've had nearly 12 minutes here at the London Stadium. And it's Pope's free kick into the mixer once again. Hart under a lot of pressure. Not the greatest purchase on the punch, but he got away with it. Kurati is going to continue. As that goal kick comes from Hart, headed away by Cork. Barnes takes it down quite clearly on the chest, and here's Goodmanson playing a ball. Oh, he played a dangerous ball back to Ward, and it almost worked against Burnley then, because Arnautovic was within a half an inch of getting on the end of that ball. It was a bit of a dangerous ball to play, and there's been a red card. Absolutely Anonymous is going to be giving us all the details from all the later scores. There's been a red card at Swansea in the game at Huddersfield, and it's been given to Jordan Ayew. Meanwhile, a chance here for Arnautovic inside the penalty area. The goalkeeper retreated, and Arnautovic shoots, blood blocked by the legs of Nick Pope. Still not away yet. And here's the Austrian Arnautovic, right hand side. Good save from Pope, but the danger not clear yet for the Clarets. Ball played in towards the back post from the right hand side, and Burnley headed out, and in fact there's a foul there in the penalty area. But Marko Arnautovic with the first big chance of the game, and it was a wonderful ball by Lanzini to set it up. And Nick Pope here did absolutely superbly, positioned himself perfectly. I was a little bit wary, Mario put him in, and here was the goalkeeper here. That's a really good save. I was a little bit worried then when Pope retreated, because Arnautovic has got that quality, of course, and we said it many times for Austria, and of course for Stoke in his previous club. And I'll tell you what, when he gets on the game and he pulls the strings, he's a very tricky little customer, Marko Arnautovic. He really is. And on the face of it, it is a good signing for West Ham, but when he doesn't play, West Ham don't play, it seems to be. And he's the sort of player that will boil hot and cold. Remember, Burnley on 40 points now, and another victory will take them to 43. But the good news is that West Brom are winning in a match against Leicester. Everton and Brighton have yet to score yet at their ground, and Huddersfield and Swansea have yet to score, nor scored there as well. This game is also goalless. Well, we just had the first big chance, and it wasn't for Burnley, it was for West Ham. It was Marko Arnautovic, and he produced a very good save by the legs of Nick Pope at the near post. Chiatti now looks as if he's going to be a-okay as he finds Noble. Now the ball over on the far side. Now they're playing infield to Arnautovic, just on the edge of the D. Good play here. Lanzini shoots over the top. And West Ham here just having a little bit of joy here in the final third, which is a little bit worrying for that Burnley defence. Good football again for West Ham. This is what they renown themselves here in these parts. Good attacking football along the deck. And Lanzini played a lovely one too with Arnautovic, and in the end the final shot was just a couple of yards over the crossbar, but really lovely play there from West Ham. You've got to give them credit. Here's Pope now with a kick for Burnley, just under the crossing bit here, the Clarets. That's not good news if you're a Clarets fan like myself, but you've got to try and stay as much calm as you can. We commentated on the earlier game, if you remember it, That turf ball where it finished 1 apiece. Here's Adaltovich now for West Ham. And now the cross in, and it's behind for a corner. And West Ham here, well on top here as we go into the 16th minute of the game. Lawton just feeling the effects of it. We lost sound there. I do apologise, folks. We did lose sound whilst we were away. West Ham had a chance with Mario and it went over the top. Meanwhile, there is a break in play. There's a break in play with actually Barnes receiving some treatment. But there's no doubt about it, West Ham are the team on top. Remember, Newcastle winning in their match against Southampton, a big game down at the bottom of the table. West Brom winning against Leicester, which is good news for the Clarets in a lot of respects, because that really does give lift off. And Barnes is having to change his shirt. He's got blood on the other shirt, so he's having to put a fresh one on whilst they're tending to that nose. A man's almost certainly in the walls. I don't know what happened there. He was certainly receiving treatment while we were off air. With a bit of a crowd scene in that penalty area as Pope kicks long up the field. You haven't missed a goal yet. Antonio takes possession, hooks it forward from 3/4 legs up there, and out comes Pope with an Arnautovic lightning fast onto him like anything. But he was offside anyway, the Austrian, and a free kick to Burnley, which will probably give them a little bit of encouragement. Yeah, he's about, what, a couple of yards there, maybe more offside there. Looking at the wide angle shot of the pitch. Pope with a free kick. Almost 10 yards from the halfway on the right hand side of the centre circle. As we come up towards 20 minutes gone here. I was going to say at Upton Park, but it's the London Stadium nowadays. But it's the sort of, I have to say, West Ham's football in the last sort of 5 minutes has been the sort of football that West Ham fans have been brought up on for many years, from the Bobby Moore years to Trevor Brooking and all that lot. And it's just Paolo Di Canio, of course. They have some real heroes at West Ham. And they haven't won a trophy incidentally since 1980. Appeals for handball there against, I think it might have been Cork, waved away by the referee Lee Mason. Now a chance here for Juan Maria to play the ball out towards the far side, and Antonio will run at them. Antonio very quick down that side, gets the cross in, but it was a poor ball. Cork hooked it out, but only about 10 yards outside the Burnley penalty area. The West Ham have it now halfway with Collins. Hits a long high ball towards Rocco Arnautovic, who didn't fancy the heading challenge there with James Tarkowski. Now Noble has it inside the centre circle, just inside the Burnley half. Throws it out to Picard Antonio. Antonio now with 20 minutes gone, running at Lawton. Lawton sticking close to him. Lennon is there too. Antonio's cross in towards the 6-yard area. Well fielded there by goalkeeper Nick Pope in the centre of his 6-yard box. and no harm done. Equaliser at the Hawthorn, so West Brom's joy and Burnley's joy a little bit has been short-lived because Leicester have equalised at the Hawthorns. It's 1-1, so 1-1 there, 1-0 up at Newcastle, and absolutely anonymous will keep us up to date with the scores, because I just simply won't have a time to click in and out of the game onto TalkSport's website and give you all the scores, but I will give you the classifieds after the final whistle here this afternoon. I will try and give you some half-time scores from the Premier League and the Championship as well, and in Scotland, and of course Hibs and Hearts played last night in that Edinburgh derby, won 2-0 by Hibs, who got their revenge on Craig Levine's Hearts after their devastating Scottish Cup defeat up at Tynecastle, as that cross comes in from Antonio. It's a Tay1, easily put out by Nick Pope. It was up at Heaster Road, the game last night, and Hibs were definitely the better team on that particular occasion. The Old Firm derby, in fact, is tomorrow. Rangers against Celtic, and if Rangers were to get something from that game, get 3 points, then Celtic would be twitching at the top of that Premier League table, that's for sure, in Scotland. Rangers really could well be a late title contenders, and really we want to see the Celtic dominance challenged really to the last tilt. If they win the league and fend off a big challenge from Rangers, then fair enough, but it just shows how good a team they have to be in Scotland if they're going to win the league now, because I think Rangers are in some tremendous form and they'll fancy their chances tomorrow, that is for sure. Here is Ward getting it forward, and Arnautovic in there very strongly, but West Ham have got the decision. Still 0-0 halfway through the first half here. West Ham now have a free kick. Well, that was a nasty tackle there by Mark Noble there on Aaron Lennon, and I tell you what, he could have butchered him there. That is a horrible tackle, but then West Ham were too late to get a decision, which was a bit powder puff to say the least, the challenge. Meanwhile, the ball back with Collins, and now an opportunity here for Yao Mario, and here's Lanzini taking over, now finds Noble, 35 yards from goal, forward about the shot, tries to bring Creswell into play, gets the ball there. They want a penalty, they're not going to get one off Lennon, that is for sure. Aaron Creswell is completely out of his mind if he thinks he's going to get a penalty for that. Just see the replay of the incident here. There's the cross. No, it's off his chest. How on earth, and how can you, well, he was about 2 yards away. If he handles the ball, he's 2 yards away. You can't give a decision for that. I'm sorry, but if he's 2 yards away, Creswell, you cannot give the penalty. But it is a corner. West Ham have it. Noble will send that into the mix. Pope stays at home this time. Zabaleta heading it back, and Tarkowski on the edge of the area. He looked as if he was fouled there. I have to say he was, but the referee's playing on to his own internal credit. He might still work in Burnley's favour here, because Barnes is leading the charge down the left hand side and has done magnificently well to win the throw in of Pablo Zabaleta. And Burnley here, thanks to actually that what would have been a poor decision from the referee, has actually turned out in their favour. So to be fair, that's probably a good thing it happened. Now Henrik bustling down the left hand side, finds Ward, low crossing in there, and in the end the goalkeeper and Ogbonna almost cutting each other as well, though there's a little bit of a, although Ogbonna gives Joe Hart what you would call a smacker on the cheek, a kiss on the cheek if you like. That's a man love inside that 6-yard box at West Ham at the moment. 24 minutes gone, and a corner and a throw over to West Ham, to Burnley, and another throw to Burnley. 25 minutes of the first half gone, so we're just over halfway through this first half. Here's Ward getting the ball on the left hand side, Gunnarsson on the overlap, and then Zabaleta trying to keep ball, and that looks as if it's gone behind for a goal kick, has it? Yes, it has. Ward didn't just keep it in play in the nick of time, and a goal kick it is to West Ham United. So at the moment 0-0 in the other games at Huddersfield and but there has been a red card there for John Nair of Swansea. And 0-0 at Everton. Brighton 0-0 here. There's been a goal at Newcastle. Newcastle winning by a goal to 0 against Southampton. And West Brom, Leicester so far currently stands at 1-1. Earlier today, Manchester United, controversially in my opinion, beat Liverpool 2-1. Liverpool really should have had a second half penalty as well. Free kick to West Ham. Kouati was fouled. And he wanted a bit more there, Kouati. I don't think it was a vicious challenge there from Jeff Henrik. I don't think you could give a yellow card for that. Here's a free kick. What could prove to be a very promising position here for West Ham. As that's sent into the mixer, and then the header back. Now Collins takes it up on the right hand side. Reads number 18 here, Raul Murillo, and he's fouled his man. Free kick to Burnley. almost 27 minutes, sorry, got in the first half here. Clarets match live from the London Stadium. He's took there Stephen Ward, Raul Murillo. So here's the free kick taken by goalkeeper Nick Pope. Nothing else happening around the country at the moment. We'll bring you up to date with all the Premier League half times and the Championship half times during the half time interval here. And the second half live. And then obviously we'll have the full classifieds and hopefully with some reaction from this game to come after the final whistle. But the full classifiers will be back in business today. And we had a few weeks off from doing the 3 o'clock games. Here's Ward for West Ham, or for Burnley I should say, ran out of pitch. I think he should get another 5 yards back there. Well, Murillo, I reckon. London Stadium, as we all know, it was Super Saturday, where we had Mo Farah, Jessica Ennis and all that lot winning the gold medals at the Olympic Games back in 2012. Can Burnley create their own version here of Super Saturday at the London Stadium today? Newcastle have been scored a second goal at Southampton, a team of really devoid of any ideas. Look as if they're going to be well and truly beaten. The 700-mile round trip is not going to be worth any points so far unless they can pull the mother of all comebacks in the second half. Newcastle looking complete control of that game. Newcastle 2, Southampton 0. And here is Tarkowski to find Westwood now for Burnley. Good ball now to Ward, who tried to Ward tried to flick it round the corner to Gudmundsson on the left hand side, but it came off the West Ham defender, and it's a throw, but it's in a good position for Burnley. It might be able to make something of it. And Russ is giving us the Football League scores. His beloved Leeds are in action today. But Varson has scored after 16 minutes. There has been 29 minutes gone there. Reading, who really do need the points at the wrong end of the table. Yapstam, a man under pressure there, of course. After a successful season there last year, which they came to a playoff final, which we covered on the YouTube channel. They deserved to lose really on balance of play in the 120 minutes against Huddersfield, who were the better side, and thankfully the better side won on the day. As West Ham played the ball into the penalty area, Burnley deal with that one okay. There's a Burnley player down halfway side the own half there, but at the moment it's a little bit nip and tuck here. Ogbonna knocking it back now to Creswell. Now Antonio, far side, up against Lawton. Cook joining to help him. Still on the left hand side, Antonio. Crossing towards Zabaleta, whose header goes wide of the left hand far post and behind for a goal kick, which will be taken by Nick Pope for Burnley. Half an hour gone, 0-0 here in this game. And so far Leeds are getting licked by Reading, who are needing the points at the wrong end of the Championship table. West Brom 1, Leicester 1, Newcastle 2, Southampton 0 in the Premier League. 0-0 in this game. And there it is, sold a dream, and a few West Ham supporters not happy with the way things are being run at the moment by the Gold and Sullivan people hierarchy. Karen Brady, the chief executive, of course. Sold a dream, given a nightmare. Some West Ham supporters just not happy with the way West Ham are being run at the moment. One could understand why, but it was always going to take a long time for them to bed down into this stadium from obviously moving from Upton Park some 18 months ago. So yeah, very tough times for West Ham Football Club, but they are a decent club. I think there are 3 or 4, 5 worse teams than them in this season. I really do. For the first 34 minutes, I've actually been impressed by some of their final third play, and Altovich has been probably impressive for me. And as a staunch current, that's hard for me to say, but you've got to try and be as unbiased as you can. Here's Henrik inside the penalty area now for the Clarets. Just couldn't feed the ball back, and it's just showing the way that Henrik is. He's so badly out of form. I don't know why Sean Dyche, and I have to say this, and I say this from the heart, not from the head. Why does Sean Dyche keep persevering with Jeff Henrik in that number 10 role, which he clearly doesn't know how to play? I would have really gone for it today. With the West Ham defence the way they are, I would have gone 2 up top. The way Chris Wood bullied that Everton defence, I think he could do the same again to Collins and Ogbonna. I really do think he could. He's that sort of a player, Chris Wood. I think he should be starting for me. Here's Goodmanson now for Burnley. Down the left-hand side. Can he whip a ball in? He can. It's bisected everybody in the penalty area, but it does come to Lawton. Lawton now tries to look for Lennon. His ball was quite overhit, and it gave Lennon a little bit too much to do in the end. He did get the ball back, but he played it into no man's land. Tarkowski winning the next ball. Still Burnley have it with Henrik. And it's not a disrespect. It's not no disrespect to Henrik, because I think he's a quality player. I just think tactically, I think Sean Dyche should be having to go away from home. We saw him do that to terrific effect against Chelsea, and they won 3-2 on the opening day of the season. At the moment, they're just looking a little bit shot shy at the moment. Here's Ben Mead here for the Clarets on halfway. Gets the ball forward. Good ball there to find Henrik. Now, what can he do here? That's another poor ball. Never going to get through. But Goodmanson now to Ward. Burnley still keeping possession to their eternal credit. Good ball, but Goodmanson on the left-hand side. Headed away. Burnley having a decent spell here. Lawton infield to Westwood, who's coming to the side in place of Defoe. It's done well. Good decent cross, and Zabaleta was in an inch of nearly getting his head on that and giving away a cheap corner. Best moments from Burnley so far, but I do honestly feel that with Jeff Henrik in the team, Burnley lack a little bit of quality further forward. We need Chris Wood on the field, I reckon. That was a better ball in, and to be fair to Zabaleta, he did really well to leave that, because it was perilously close to his head. 34 minutes gone, 0-0 here. Remember, Newcastle winning that basement battle in the Premier League. Southampton in big trouble now. If they lose this game, they're going to be surely marooned in the bottom 3. Huddersfield, Swansea, another big game at the bottom, 0-0 there. West Brom are needing a win really to keep their faint survival hopes alive, let's be fair, as Lanzini tries to play a 1-2 with Adaltovich. Now Barnes has it, and he's asked a lot of Goodmanson, but he's found him. Goodmanson now on the near side. Here's an opportunity now for Burnley to get the ball into that penalty area, headed away by West Ham. It's a good little spell this for the Clarets. Here's Ward to Goodmanson. Goodmanson is field to Henrik. Henrik now has got Ward there. He's onside. Henrik was there, just prodded on the left. Little cross in there. They look for a penalty there. Potential penalty there inside the area. I'm not sure. It was 50-50. I'd like to see a replay just to get an overriding opinion of it. It happened over so quickly, and There were a few appeals from the Burnley players. Here's Antonio now inside the last 10 minutes of the first half. Still 0-0. And he runs at Lowton into the penalty area. Still on the left-hand side. Plays it out to the penalty area. Edge of the penalty area. Cross comes in towards the penalty area. Headed away by Ben Mee. Now Kiati has it. And now finds Creswell. It's all of a sudden become an FA Cup type game. West Ham say we'll attack. Burnley reply we'll attack. And then West Ham reply again and then with an attack. It's a good spell of football, this. Good carnival football. Here's Lanzini out to the far side. Good intelligent play to Mikel Antonio. Infield back to Lanzini. Good 1-2 there. Albona now looking to get it forward. And in the end it's cut out by Burnley. You'd expect them to be very stout defensively, certainly with Tarkowski in the team. Free kick to Burnley. Foul there on Jeff Henrik. And really it's been a 36 minutes really that's really ebbed and flowed at the moment. Earlier today we remember Manchester United beat Liverpool by 2-1 at Anfield, not at Anfield, at Old Trafford, sorry, to give them 3 points that will give them a real shot in the arm there this afternoon. As for Burnley, it's 0-0 here, and we're just having one or two technical issues at the moment, but we'll keep going. Remember, Newcastle 2, Southampton 0. As soon as we get the action back for you, we will commentate. Hopefully we'll keep commentating on the game for you, but at the moment the commentary seems to be suspended here for the moment or two. But hopefully we will get it back in time for the latter stages of the first half, which is, in the main, it's not been the best. But having said all that, it's been a decent fare, been a decent watch, and it's quite a good game of football thus far. We are back live now with the action. Still 0-0 here. As I say, Newcastle winning in their matches. That ball comes into the penalty area. Zabaleta had nodded it back. And the trouble is with these live games, you're at the mercy of it all, really. So we're into the 38th minute. Noble with a throw then for West Ham. Back to Zabaleta, right hand side. Low cross into the penalty area. Knocked away. Great stream, mate. Keep it going. We will keep it going. We always endeavour to keep things going here on the JB Clark YouTube channel, even if the ship sinks a lot of the time. Oh, now Lanzini through. Lanzini shoots. What a save! What a save by Pope! He hesitated for a split second there, the Burnley keeper. It looked as if Lanzini was on some favourite to score right through the centre of the area. Mistakes here in the Burnley defence. He was going through and Pope stuck out a left leg and made an exceptional save. And it's kept Burnley in it at 0-0. A magnificent piece of goalkeeping there by Pope. Here's the corner from Yao Maria. Now it comes out to Creswell who shoots and it hits Lennon on the back. And out for a throw-in, almost level with the penalty area of Burnley on the left-hand side. And Lennon didn't flinch one bit. Big chance. That arguably is the best chance of the match. It looked odds on 1-0 West Ham, but Nick Pope, that's international class goalkeeping if ever I saw it. And if Gareth Southgate is watching from afar, surely he will have been impressed by that piece of goalkeeping. There's the low throw by Antonio into the mix out. Tarkowski again winning a header, and Burnley now with 39 minutes and 39 and a half minutes gone. On the rack a little bit, and Lennon was taken out there quite viciously in my opinion there by Creswell, who surely will be well deserving of a yellow card. Oh, I tell you what, that was a vicious foul. He had to take him out, and to be fair to Creswell, he accepts his punishment. Ball and well gone, took him out. Free kick. And by my reckoning, that's the first yellow card of the contest. But Nick Pope, save of the match for me, that save. It's worth a double look here. It looks as if Lanzini straight through the middle. It looks as if it's 1-0 West Ham from here on in. The defence caught square for once. Tarkowski and me were caught absolutely flat-footed and square. And Zini broke the offside trap, and it looked as if that it was going to be 1-0, but the former Charlton goalkeeper Nick Pope, what a save. Here's Gudmundsson now at the other end. Gudmundsson now trying to make something happen for Burnley. He's another former Charlton player, incidentally. Here is Westwood now, and it's Burnley's turn to have a go at West Ham. 40 minutes gone. Lowton to Lennon. Lennon is onside. Lennon, good skills into the penalty area. Back out to Westwood, who shoots, and it's deflected away. Now it's end-to-end stuff, and the game is becoming a little bit stretched as we come towards the first half. It's 4 against 4, and Zini leading the charge. And now Antonio's cross was a disappointing one for West Ham's point of view. The ball has gone into touch. It is a West Ham throw halfway inside the Burnley half, but it was a 4-on-4 there for a second. Oh, and Artemich pushed his man. Sure, he has to be penalised. He did head it goalwards. It was straight into Nick Pope's hands anyway, but he did clearly push the player here. It was Ben Mee pushed it. There he is, quite clearly. Good boy from Noble, however. 0-0, but we've had a really good, lively last sort of 7 or 8 minutes here. Remember, it's 1-1 at the All Fours between West Brom and Leicester. 2-0 to Newcastle against Southampton. Southampton now in massive trouble at the bottom of the Premier League. West Brom really needing a win in their game. At the moment, they're only drawing. Here's a chance now for Lanzini. Up towards Arnautovic. Arnautovic now up against Tarkowski. Tarkowski retreats him out of the penalty area and back to the left hand side, but Lanzini wins the ball, gets the ball into the penalty area, and they appeal for a foul there, and they get the decision. Burnley, I think Kouati did back into his man. Lee Mason is getting fury from the West Ham players, but I think it was the right decision. Kouati is incensed, and if he's not careful, Lee Mason, he'll talk his way into Lee Mason's notebook here. He's got to keep the discipline. Mark Noble, the captain there, Burnley, have a man stricken on the floor. I don't know who it is, quite frankly. It's Stephen Ward, I think. Yes, it's Stephen Ward. Almost like a boxer knocked to the canvas here. Let's see what happened. Well, he did nod into the back of him. Don't think it was anything too malicious. It definitely was a free kick. Ward feeling the effects with 2 minutes plus normal time to go, but there's going to be at least a fair chunk of stoppage time, on with a range of about 2 or 3 minutes. Purely due to Kouati's injury, that certainly took at least 2.5 to 3 minutes. And then there was the Ashley Barnes one. I actually think there could be about 3 or 4 minutes in actual fact. I'll be amazed if it's less than that. Ali Beattie, the Burnley physiotherapist. And that 4-strong team of Tony Lochran, Ian Wong, the assistant, and Sean Dyche, the manager. There's Nick Pope, Billy Mercer, of course, who's goalkeeping coach, has coached 2 magnificently brilliant goalkeepers that are the best in the country by none. And that's surely going to be a corner. It isn't. Well, that looked as if it drifted up for a Burnley corner, and we play on. A little strange decision there by the linesman. I know he's far side to it, but from my vantage point, it looked like as if he went for a corner. Here's Gudmundsson's cross, low cross. I think he got a couple of ricochets on the way through, and it was cleared away by Collins. Last minute of the first half of normal time, but there's going to be a little bit, as I said, probably a fair chunk of stoppage time, if I'm not mistaken. Here's Antonio now, 40 seconds from the end of normal time. Kouati, he's got Noble to his right, but he goes left instead to Creswell, who's the first and only recipient of a yellow card in the game. Half a minute of normal time left. Here's Noble now, midway inside the Burnley half, in a bit of space, about 5 or 6 yards worth of space. Burnley backed off him a little bit, but still West Ham come. Ball into the penalty area, headed away by Ben Mee from the left hand side, and then Kouati and Cook going for it, and Cook came out the victor. And now a long ball forward towards Ashley Barnes, who chases it against Doc Bonner on the far side. We played the 45 minutes, and now we're into stoppage time. As I say, there may be a fair amount. We'll just have to see what the fourth official says. And there's going to be 5 minutes. I'm not. Well, it says 4 on the board there, but 5 In fact, it is 4. I'm not surprised actually it's 4, because we had 2 big injuries to, personally to Chiatti in the early stages, and then Ashley Barnes for a bloody nose. So it's not a great surprise that we're into 4 minutes of time added on at the end of the first half. So I think the officials probably got that spot on. Here comes the corner and hooked into the penalty area, but it's deflected behind on its way by Lennon for a corner. Mount Noble will go across. The West Ham captain to take. West Ham just shaded it maybe on points, because they've had the 2 best chances of the game. It's actually Lanzini who's going to take the corner. And it is going up towards the corner quadrant to stop it from being a quickly taken corner. He's well within his rights to do so. He's well within his rights to do so, Lanzini. You're not playing the game. You're not refereeing the game. The referee is... Oh, good punch by Pope. Had to go for a crowd seat to get it out. It did well. It comes to Raul Maria. Plays that in. And Raul Maria couldn't get it out. Or couldn't get it in. Now he has it on the far side. Noble had made an overlapping run. Instead goes back to Creswell in his own half. We're now playing the second of 4 added minutes at the end of the first half, and Altovich is offside. And a free kick to Burnley as we come towards the latter stage of the first half. Half times, I'm sure, will be coming in up and down the country. As far as we know, well, there's been no changes in any of the Premier League scores. That's still West Brom 1, Leicester 0, Newcastle 2, Southampton 0. They're the only games that have had goals in them. So 4 goals in the free kickoffs. All the other games including this one we're covering. That's 0-0. Huddersfield and Swansea, that's 0-0. But there's been a major flashpoint there with a red card for Jordan Iron. Meanwhile, Ashley Barnes has been penalised midway inside the West Ham half, and a free kick to West Ham. And then, of course, the other game at Goodison Park between Everton and Brighton, who were fresh from that terrific victory when we featured them last Sunday. And they beat Arsenal 2-1. At the moment, they're on course for a very good point, you've got to say, at Goodison. It's not an easy place to get 3 points from, or to get any points from, despite Everton's troubles this season under Big Sam Allardyce. As that ball is hooked in towards the penalty area, Ward gets it out. It's a West Ham throw. We're in the third of 4 minutes now. In fact, we're now coming up towards the end of the third of the 4th minutes. And we've got another minute still to go. And here's Zabaleta. Gudmundsson back there for Burnley. Did well to dig it out, trying to get Barnes on his way. I think Burnley have lacked a little bit of creativity in the final third, and this is where I think they need to get Chris Wood on and get it 2 up top and really get it and really test that Burnley backline, because Ashley Barnes, as we all know, is a battering rod, and Chris Wood is a big, powerful man. And I do think if we have these 2 up front, they could cause West Ham problems like they did to Everton last week at Turf Moor. As Antonio crosses in, it's all about the last 30 seconds or so now, a stoppage time, and then just get to half time. They were well within 30 seconds of getting in at 0-0 in this game last year, and then a controversial moment decide them here, and they can't afford to make another mistake. Good ball in there, and I think there was a little deflection of Tarkowski. Last 10 seconds of normal time of stoppage time. Here's Gudmundsson back to Ward. Just calm it down, get it forward. We've played the 4 minutes now, and Lee Mason surely will have to blow for time here, and indeed he does. 6 seconds over the 4, but doesn't matter. But West Ham are probably just shaded in on chances created. Marko Arnautovic had the first outstanding chance, but he was clean through just to the right of goal, but Nick Pope's legs kept it out. And then another terrific save by the former Charlton keeper later on in the half, when Lanzini was odds on to score, and Nick Pope stuck out a left leg and diverted it away for a corner. West Ham have had the better chances, but Burnley have stuck in there and have made it so tough there for West Ham. But I think Burnley do need to change it in the final third, especially. I think Sean Dyche really needs to make some changes, I think, at half time, because in the final third they just haven't been good enough, I have to say, the Clarets. But they're still very much in this game here at the London Stadium. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and after that break we'll give you the full times up and down the country, the Championship and the Premier League, and then the full second half of West Ham against Burnley. With the scoreline here, West Ham 0, Burnley 0. Let's just have a look at the match stats before we leave you. 7 shots to 2, 3 attempts on target for West Ham, none yet for Burnley. West Ham shading it from possession, 57-43, and the passing accuracy, they're shading that by something like 8% as well. And action areas, a lot of it being played in the Burnley half at the moment, a lot of it in the centre, 25% in the West Ham half. So that's the situation then, as we take a short 5-10 minute break. We'll bring you the half times from the Premier League and the Championship, and then full second half commentary of this match here at the London Stadium, Burnley West Ham, where at half time it's 0-0. Welcome back to the London Stadium, where it's 0-0 here in our featured match. Chelsea Crystal Palace to come at 17:30, and the football channel Panini, the artist formerly known as Panini, his channel is live at 7:30. If you want to go over to his channel and listen to Aston Villa Wolves in the Championship from Villa Park, his game will be doing full match commentary of a big promotion clash up in the Championship. Aston Villa Wolves then, live commentary at 5:30 this evening, Greenwich Mean Time in the UK. Right, let's just take a check on the scorelines that we have at the moment. Earlier today, Manchester United beat Liverpool by 2-1. Half times at the 3 o'clock is in the Championship, in the Premiership, sorry, Premier League I should say. Everton 0, Brighton 0 is a half-time score at Goodison Park. So too is Huddersfield Swansea at the John Smith Stadium. Newcastle 2, Southampton 0 is a half-time, and West Brom, having taken the lead, have been pegged back by Leicester City, so 1-1 in that game. In the Championship, as we are just about to await the kick-off, we'll go to the Championship. We'll check Scotland as well. So these are the Championship scores as we have them. All half times were, by the way. Burton 0, Bristol City 0. Cardiff annoyingly 3 up. I don't like Neil Warnock, by the way. I think he's an arrogant man, the way he treats Stan Ternent. I don't want him to go over into the Premier League, but it looks as if Cardiff are doing it. 3-0 against Gary Monk's Birmingham. Hull 2, Norwich 3. A first half hat-trick by Maddison has given Norwich a 3-2 half-time lead, and a real thriller down at the KC, up at the KC. Ipswich 0, Sheffield United 0, 2 outsiders for the playoffs. Barnsley being beaten 2-0 at Middlesbrough. Millwall are playing some terrific stuff of late, in some terrific form. Probably an outside bet for the playoffs. A lot of people might fancy them. I mean, they're probably in the best form of their lives at the moment. Neil Harris's side, they're 1 up against Brentford in the London derby there. Preston 0, Fulham 0, QPR Sunderland 0-0. Sunderland really badly need some points there if they're going to suffer some successive demotions, relegations I should say. Reading 1, Leeds 1 is a half-time score, so Russ will be delighted about that. And Sheffield Wednesday and Bolton, 2 out of 4 sides really, battling probably in that bottom 8 in the Championship, 0-0. And as I say, Panini will have the match between Aston Villa and Wolves for you on his channel at 5:30, and it's a game you will not want to miss, I'm sure, because I think that could go a long way, and if Cardiff winning, it puts the pressure on Wolves, and certainly to a certain extent Aston Villa at the moment. Just quickly the Scottish Premiership before we get underway in the second half. Dundee 0, St Johnstone 2. Hamilton Academicals lead Motherwell by 1-0. Kilmarnock lead Ross County by 1-0, and Partick Thistle and Aberdeen 0-0 as well. Panini says his football accumulators are not too bad at the moment, as we're waiting to get underway here at the London Stadium. They're still waiting to come out. Those are just some of the half times. We'll bring you a whole classified check before we leave you at around about 5:25, just enough time for you to get over to Panini's channel to listen to his commentary on that big Championship clash at Villa Park later this afternoon between Aston Villa and Wolverhampton Wanderers, 2 potential big teams that shouldn't be knocking around the Championship in my opinion right now, as West Ham are the first ones out the field. I'm not sure that the pools panel's in service now. They never say the pools panel anymore in the old classifieds, but we do have the classified check at 5. We'll give you all the scores from up and down the land. As I said, West Ham, we'll do the whole shebang at 5 o'clock. We are ready to kick off with the second half of Burnley West Ham here, and that is our commentary game. When both teams are out, we will do the Scottish Championship at 5 o'clock in the classified check, so don't worry. We're just checking the 2-3 big leagues at the moment at half time. Some of us have got to catch their breath, so we're just waiting for Burnley. This is our main event. We can't miss 1 second in the main event here. And as soon as we will give you the scores from Scotland. And well, Celtic are not the champions yet. If they lose to Rangers, then Rangers could still put up a title fight, Panini. So nothing is cast in stone. But the bubbles are out for the second half. Both teams are out. West Ham in the claret and blue, and the Clarets of Burnley in an all-white shirt with claret shorts and claret socks. West Ham, of course, in white shorts and white stockings as we get this second half underway. 0-0, but two magnificent saves from Nick Pope has stopped West Ham from taking a possible deserved 2-0 lead, because they have been the better team on balance. And it's very difficult of me as a staunch Claret to say that as the second half gets up and running again. But Sean Dyche, really, there's been no changes at half time. I'm surprised at that. I thought Sean Dyche might have changed it a bit up front. He does have Chris Wood on the bench. I'm surprised he didn't start with him, considering how it worked so significantly against Everton last week. I'm surprised he didn't start with Wood at all. Anyway, we're back underway, and it's Nick Pope with the first goal kick in the second half. He kicks right-footed, over the halfway line it goes, and Barnes seemed to win it, but 0-2 was Ogbonna. Neither team have made a half-time substitution. Oh, that's an awful decision from Lee Mason inside the centre circle. I don't know what happened there. Rafa Santos is a West Ham fan, and well, I just think Sean Dyche is perplexed. I'm perplexed in the commentary box, and Sean Dyche is having a right go at the fourth official. I don't know why he's given a free kick there. There didn't seem to be anything untoward whatsoever, and the referee Lee Mason again living up to his, well, I was going to say a naughty word there, but he's living up to his awful reputation here. He's not forgiven by some quarters for his poor refereeing in the Burnley Arsenal match back in November, where he gave so many awful decisions. He failed to spot two clear handballs from Arsenal. Burnley should have had two clear penalties. As the shot comes in from Yao Mario, and it's over the top for a goal kick. But I've got to tell you, the referee Lee Mason is having a shocker in this first half. It has to be said. He's had a shocker in this game. I just honestly believe that you've got to get the refereeing paternity. If they're going to get any respect out of anybody, they've got to start being fair in their decision making. I can't understand that decision from Lee Mason. I really can't. I'm still angry with him because of what he did in that game. And there's Chris Wood there lining up for the Clarets if he needed. I think he will be needed at some point. If it's still 0-0 with about half an hour to go, get him on. Get the man on, because quite honestly it's been a farce, and now we've lost the stream's decided to have a little bit of a meltdown at the moment, so we're still in a little bit of difficulty here. This is the problem with the technical issues. It's just slow and hard, and you're trying to get the, and sometimes the stream works perfectly like it did on Monday night with the Crystal Palace game, and then Man United game, and then you get a stream like this for West Ham Burnley. It's just crazy. But it's still 0-0. You haven't missed anything at the moment. But I have to say, for a game of this magnitude, it's been pretty good at the moment. As that corner comes in from Burnley in towards the penalty area, and still not kept alive by the Clarets, but it's hooked away. But at the moment it's going a little bit slow at the moment, all the live stuff at the moment, and which is a bit frustrating at the moment. Certainly when you're trying to do a full match commentary on the game. It's losing a lot of patience with me, this, really. It is, to be quite honest with you, because we want to make sure that we have a good flow to the second half, and at the moment we're not getting that at the moment, and I'm sorry to say, and that is a real devastating thing for me, really, because you get keyed up to commentate on a big game like this, and then all of a sudden everything just breaks down in front of you. It doesn't help, but I do think Rangers could launch a great title bid. There's still a long way to go in the season in Scotland at this moment in time, and anything could still happen as regards that. I do honestly think there's reasonable scope that Rangers could put together a total bid. We still haven't got a link for the game, so whilst we're trying to get some footage back of the game so we can keep commentating on, we'll just talk about the implications at the bottom of the table, because what will happen now if Newcastle beat Southampton? Southampton will be in desperate strife at the wrong end of the table. One has got to say, really, it's been a frustrating time for Southampton. They get rid of Puel and then they just end up being on the wrong end of things, and we've completely lost it for the second half. I'm sorry here. Absolutely Anonymous says West Huddersfield will kill themselves or kick themselves if they don't beat the 10 men of Swansea. I've got to say that they won't get a better opportunity than that. We played 5 minutes of the second half, and I still believe it's 0-0 anyway in the game we're supposed to be covering, and at the moment we have had nothing to bring you, because the game is, we're having technical issues, and technical issues always seem to beset us on 3 o'clock kickoffs. I'm just wondering if it's a bit of a curse doing live 3 o'clock kickoffs sometimes, because it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those unfortunate things, isn't it? You know, it's just, I don't know. We're supposed to be back live now with the action, but once again we weren't the elements here, unfortunately, and it's not. And I honestly think my internet provider will get it in the neck here, because at the end of the day we're at the mercy of them and everybody else, and we are back live with the action. It's still 0-0. We've had 51 minutes gone, so we are back live with the game. West Ham 0, Burnley 0, and it's still a little bit playing up, still a little bit jumpy, but we are back live with the action now, with Lawton now for Burnley playing that infield to Lennon. And it's still a little bit jumpy in the match at the stream at the moment. We need to get the game back on. Now then, Jack Cork. And now it's just, hopefully we'll get it back live now with you now for the remainder of the second half. We're just having a few technical issues. 52 minutes gone. As Ward scrambles forward now, and Ward goes forward. Good ball. Barnes is in there. Barnes scores for Burnley. Ashley Barnes has scored. They're appealing for offside. Has the goal been given? Barnes put the ball in. No, it hasn't. He's been ruled out for offside. I thought it had gone in. Then the pitch has stopped for a second or two, and then I'm looking. Oh, that is close. Half an inch in it. And what a good finish too. And there was an opportunity at the other end which we missed as well. And as Arnautovic broke into the area. In fact, it was a good tackle, in fact. I thought Burnley had scored then to take the lead. And there was a lot of staunch Clarets up and down the line cheering them for a second, but then obviously just when that goes against you, it just signifies the officials. I thought the official got it right though, in fairness, and then there's a Burnley player gone down there in a heap and the yellow card has been brandished. Lanzini not happy obviously with it, and he walks away with a bit of a disgusted look on his face. We are live back with you now. The stream is now running to full pelt. We leave a foot in now, on another day arguably could have seen red for that. He's quite lucky in retrospect to be yellow carded rather than a red. I just thought for 1 minute though, a minute or two ago, I thought Burnley had taken the lead, but the offside flag was rightly raised. But Burnley making something happen now in that final third, which is encouraging. They could just get Chris Wood on, I think they'll be even more of a threat. Here's Tarkowski now on the halfway line, and they're having a go here, Burnley. You have to. Barnes just can't get it in there, and Cork's ball was a little bit strong. Newcastle have gone 3 up against Southampton. Here back at the London Stadium, we've got Mikel Antonio bumbling down the right hand side, and Antonio finds Lanzini now left hand side of the penalty area, runs into the area, gets to the byline. Lanzini's cross, well charged down, then Lennon gives it away, and then Creswell has the shot. Lennon a little bit lazy there perhaps. 10 minutes gone in the second half, still 0-0, but how is it 0-0? I do not know. Burnley could have been 1 up, but the flag was quite rightly raised. Everton have taken the lead against Brighton. That's not a good result for Burnley, because Everton are right up chasing that 7th spot as well, which could carry a European place come the end. So it's still vitally important for Burnley that they get something here today. I think they need to get Chris Wood on. I can't agree. I disagree with Panini at the moment. Southampton are free falling to the Championship, and at the moment West Brom and any other team could be going. I think Newcastle could well be home and host now. That's a big win for them if they keep it at 3-0 now for the rest of the game. But it's a great result for Newcastle. It really is a terrific result for them, as Antonio takes the throw midway inside the West Ham half. Creswell comes forward. Oh, that's a challenge. Oh, it's Westwood. Oh, he's reaching for his back pocket. Please, for one horrible moment then, I thought the red card was coming out then. Lanzini's holding his leg. I don't know how big a contact this was. Let's have a look at it again on replay. Oh, I tell you what, he's lucky there, I have to say, Westwood. It was a horrible tackle. Yes, he's caught him on his shin. I can't defend him now, I'm afraid. He's lucky. Best Burnley player in the book, but I have to tell you, even I'm a Burnley fan and I'm a staunch Claret, but I've got to tell you, I thought that was red, and I did actually expect Lee Mason to show the red card there as that cross comes in, but well taken by Pope. So Westwood a lucky boy, and there's some big news for the Clarets on the bench. Chris Wood is stripped and ready to go for the second. So as I thought, it might be a little bit sooner than I thought, to be fair, but that's not bad. And Chris Wood will be able to come on. I would assume for Jeff Henrik. I can't see. Or maybe drop Henrik into midfield and take Westwood off, because that was an awful tackle by Westwood. I did honestly think he was going to show the red card Lee Mason. And to be perfectly honest, seeing it real time, and I didn't think it was a very good tackle indeed. That's a poor ball. If that was intended for Barnes, it was way over hit. And in the end, Ogbonna gets it back to goalkeeper Joe Hart, who has been beaten, but the goal doesn't stand. As Maheda comes in, again the challenge is flying in that centre. Westwood involved again. He's got to be careful, Ashley Westwood. It was an awful challenge, and really that should be a red card offence. I just don't think there's any defending him really. Now, when Lee Mason really did take the lenient view, I will admit that, even as a staunch Claret, I thought Burnley were going to go down to 10 men there, and he wouldn't have surprised me in the least, because it was an awful tackle. Certainly off the ground, he caught his shin. But thankfully, Lee Mason took a lenient view, and Burnley still have the full complement of 11 players on the pitch. And the ball to Nick Pope. Still 0-0, 58 minutes gone. It was a bit of a bad tackle. Bad result for Burnley at this stage elsewhere. And West Brom, more worse for them, because it could well be that their relegation, their biggest chance, well, their outside chance of staying up may well end today, because West Brom, I'm sorry to say, are looking at a poor shadow of themselves. Leicester have come back from behind, as everyone would predictably would, and it's, I mean, as a Burnley fan, it is a disappointing result in terms of the 7th place, but it's even more so for West Brom. And oh, that's out of play. That should have been a corner. I didn't see that at the time. I was looking at the scoreline, and I've just seen a replay. Joe Hart has got away scot-free. Another poor decision from Lee Mason and his brothers there. I've got to be honest. He, apart from that lenient piece of leniency for Burnley when Westwood's tackle should have possibly warranted a red card rather than a yellow. Again, I have to say Lee Mason's had a diabolical match. Lanzini tries the shot, hit Westwood, and I think Chris Wood is still waiting to come on that near side. Indeed he is. Barnes holding it up superbly well, and now Chris Wood is going to come on for Burnley. I don't know who he's replaced, because the stream jumped a bit. Chris Wood is on. I presume it's Jeff Henrik who's gone off. I might be wrong. If anyone can tell me who Chris Wood has replaced, please tell me, because we haven't had any visual clues. Ashley Barnes is still on the field, so we know it's not him. I'm just wondering if it's Jeff Henrik that's gone off. Please someone confirm it for me. And it's certainly not Ashley Westwood either. So it must be then Jeff Henrik. It has to be. So it looks as if two up top. So someone just confirm it for me. But I'm certain it's Jack Cork. That's not Jack Cork, but Jeff Henrik has been replaced. Here's an opportunity for Cork now to get forward. Now Ward. Ward playing the ball back. And now the ball back with Ben Mee. And now Tarkowski on halfway. Burnley now with two up top. They're going to fight fire with fire by the looks of it here, the Clarets. Here's Leonard. Get that in. I think that just scrubs out the one that Joe Hart got away with there, to be quite honest with you. So West Brom 1, Leicester 2. Newcastle 3, Southampton 0. Still 0-0 in any of the other games at the moment. Oh no, not actually. Everton 1 up at home to Brighton, sorry. And of course this game and the one at Huddersfield is still goalless, but we've had some terrific moments. Some big talking points from this game, that is for sure. Earlier today, Liverpool beat Manchester, were beaten 2-1 at Old Trafford by Manchester United. Bit controversial that game. Liverpool should have had a second half penalty in that one. Barnes shoots just wide. Hits it well, but just pulled the shot wide, Barnes. And that's a very good moment there for Burnley. Barnes played it into one, and that's the value of having Chris Wood on the field. And Joe Hart, if it had been on target, was getting nowhere near that shot. He's hit that with such ferocity on his left foot, just goes wide of the right hand post, and that was so close to a goal for Burnley. And that would have really given the Clarets a bit of lift off there. And it still remains goalless at the London Stadium here. Attempts, West Ham have had 10, Burnley have had just a 3, and on target, West Ham with their 3 all coming in the first half, and Burnley yet to register a shot on target. But Barnes was not far away from opening the scoring in that game. Burnley looking a bit more of a different proposition now. They've gone to 2 up top. As a ball forward from Lawton. Now Wood on the chase, fresh legs. He'll fancy this against Cresswell, and then the ball comes back to Joe Hart. I have to say, Pradini, if you don't include Nick Pope in the mix for England #1, then there's something completely wrong with Gareth Southgate, because Nick Pope at the moment, he's 3/4 of the way to 11 clean sheets for the season, best English goalkeeper in terms of clean sheets, and he's 2 saves, one from Arnautovic and one from Lanzini. I don't watch it. I don't watch it on Cody. I don't have a Cody box, just so you know. So but it's 0-0. We're bringing this to you live. 0-0. And I will scrub the comments off there a little bit later on, I'm afraid. Burnley 0, West Ham 0 here on the JB Claret YouTube channel. Good turn there by, good ball there towards Ward. Into the balls, the penalty area it goes, and hooked away once more. And now a chance now for West Ham to break forward here with Antonio buzzing away down the side and doing well into towards the penalty area. Knocked away once more, and in fact he's fouled. Here's a ball forward again up towards the penalty area. And if we had any more comments from you, like AJ in 1882, we will take the live chat off. I've only got back to you. You did me a favour by saying Jeff Henrik, but please, no more comments like that, please. I'm doing you a service. Just be lucky that we're not showing this actually on YouTube, because the Premier League would absolutely crucify me if it was. So I'm not committing any proper crime, am I? So no audio commentary. So just be thankful you've got commentary. Otherwise, because Radio Lancashire, you wouldn't get Radio Lancashire on here, would you? Let's be honest. Here's Lauren Lennon now for Burnley, 0-0. Here's Lawton to bring the ball forward. And yes, I do have Sky and I do have BT Sports, so just let's get that straight. And here's a chance now for Ward forward, and Wood is through. He needs support now on that right hand side. And it's Barnes is there. Ball shot! Oh, what a beautiful goal! What a superb goal from Ashley Barnes! And Burnley take the lead at the London Stadium. What a superb goal! That is one of the great moves, David Moyes. Arms folded, but Chris Wood here. This is the value of having Wood in the team. Keeps it up, holds it up, and he spots Barnes there, into the area, 18 yards out, and he smashes it in with his right foot. And Burnley now can sense 43 points for the season here. Joe Hart, no chance at all. So no clean sheet for him. And West Ham, who had those 2 chances in the first half, well, it's come back to haunt them good and proper. Wood holding the ball up, and then the shot back in, and there it's the finish. What a goal. 1-0. Joe Hart beaten a mile. And Burnley here have given themselves a real shot in the arm. West Ham United 0, Burnley 1. This is a worrying moment for David Moyes' team. But for the Clarets, oh, now there's a fan on the field attacking Mark Noble. And, oh, this is disgraceful. And the last thing West Ham fans need at the moment, Mark Noble is absolutely furious. It's looking absolutely annihilating for West Ham. I don't know what happened there with Mark Noble. We just caught a bit of that. A fan just ran off a bit. Another fan running onto the field now. And he slipped over. He's absolutely furious, and I think he's going over to Mark Noble here to. This is disgraceful scenes. James Collins leading the supporters astray. The security at West Ham is disgraceful. It has to be said, but I hope these 2 fans are arrested. I've got to be honest, and this is not what David Sullivan or David Gold need right now. It's joy for the Clarets, but it's disappointment for West Ham at the moment. And he'll be looking at that screen now, thinking, "What do we have to do?" And he's delayed the kickoff by some sort of, the restart by some sort of 2 or 3 minutes here. This is, oh, I tell you. Sullivan and Gold and Brady, get out of our club. There's protests going on around the ground. This is going to unsettle everything here at West Ham. And to be fair, they should have been 2 up in the first half, in all fairness to them. But then again, Mark Noble is having a right go at Lee Mason here. He's having plenty to say. David Moyes as well. Something's going on here. It's all kicked off down here in London today, I'm afraid. Burnley deservedly in front, second half endeavours, but I'm afraid it's not looking good for West Ham now. 1 down, and there's a lot of trouble here amongst the West Ham fans. Burnley in front then. Ashley Barnes' goal. And Chris Wood, what a substitution that was from Sean Knight. Terrific. And here is an opportunity now for Westwood to come forward. And look at Burnley now. Absolutely on a crest of a wave here. Inside the penalty area is Goodmanson. And Barnes again. Barnes might pull the trigger. Lennon might pull the trigger. Across the face. Oh, it's 2-0! 2-0 to Burnley! It's Chris Wood! And it gets better and better and better! From the Clarets here, James Collins holds his head in shame, but Burnley are flying high. They're going to keep 7 points at 6-10 with 20 minutes to go. What a substitution from Sean Dyche. It's Burnley 0, but West Ham 0, Burnley 2, and Burnley are absolutely riding the crest of a wave, and West Ham look shaken, battered, bruised, and look a sorry mess of a side at the back, all over the place. And Burnley here look as if they're going to have 2 wins on the trot. Oh my goodness me! Sean Dyche for the second week running has made the substitutions at the right time, and Burnley have got it right. And more agony for West Ham, who are dropping like a stone towards the bottom three of the Premier League. Now the little P. Hernandez is going to come on. Oh my goodness me. What joy for the Clarets. What joy for Burnley Football Club. There's more trouble now in the stands. West Ham fans break. Oh, there's all sorts there. There's fighting breaking out amongst the West Ham fans. This is not what we want to see. Yao Maria is off. And on comes Chicharito Hernandez. Then the West Ham players must be wondering what's happening here. And poor Mark Noble, you've got to feel a little sympathy for him, because he's a West Ham man through and through. But they're attacking the well, it's the ball they're having a go at, and they are furious, the West Ham fans. Meanwhile, back on the field, let's try and concentrate with events on the field. Let's not worry about what's happening off the field. It's a corner to West Ham, but Burnley are 2-0 up. Wood and Barnes the scorers. 17 minutes left to play. Here's the corner now from Creswell towards the penalty area, and that should be dealt with by Lennon, but only as far as Noble. West Ham needs something now. Burnley look as if they're going to get 3 points. And away, and in a lot of ways, they've got Nick Pope to thank for that in the first half, because if it wasn't for his 2 great saves from Arnautovic and from as that ball comes in towards the penalty area, that's going to just be kept in. But Lanzini asked a lot of him, in fairness. But as just going back to Nick Pope for a second, but here's Noble just to break off for a second. Noble's crossed into the penalty area, and well defended again by the Clarets. In fact, they've got a free kick, which will infuriate the West Ham fans a little bit more, but it was a foul on Matt Lawton. Let's go back to the first half, shall we? The 2 saves from Nick Pope, from Arnautovic and then Lanzini, when they were both odds on to score. And look at that off the field. The West Ham fans are attacking the board. It's chance to the like sect in the morning and all that sort of thing. And well, David Sullivan and David Gold, who are both proper West Ham fans, let's be fair, they poured a lot of money into the club, but they're not happy the way things are, the West Ham fans. But at the moment, what can you do? 2-0 to Everton, meanwhile at Brighton. Here's a chance now for Burnley now as they look to call for the killer third. Barnes looks as if he was fouled, but the referee doesn't agree. But Burnley are 2 up and look completely in control. Leicester have gone 3-1 up at West Brom. This is turning into a great afternoon here. Burnley are 2 up here. West Ham are in disarray on and off the pitch. It's all happened here. If only those 2 goals for them had gone in, we wouldn't have been talking about fans protest and things like that. Keep the protest until after the game, folks. That's all I'll say on the matter. But as a staunch Claret, I don't care at the moment. 2-2 between Leeds and Reading at the Majewski, says Russ. But oh my goodness, the second half is all happening here. The security, police, all sorts down there, down below. There's all sorts of violence going on here, I'm afraid. And now as a God, now this is ridiculous. This is not helping things. There's a West Ham fan who stupidly planted a corner flag in the centre circle. How many more frustrating days? I can understand the West Ham fans' frustration, and now he's calling the players off. The West Ham fans have just been absolutely ridiculous. The security at West Ham, I have to say, is absolutely poor. And they need to stop these troublemakers, because I tell you something, the West Ham fans have let their club down. They've let their team down. They've let everybody down. Poor Lee Mason doesn't know what's coming and going here at the moment. He's trying to referee a football match. The security, and now Sean Dyche is lending an ear to the conversation. His team are 2 up. And the Burnley fans are loving this, but for West Ham, their supporters are a disgrace. They're a disgrace. Attack the board. Do your protests after the match. And I do honestly think they're not going to. I hope they're not going to abandon this game. They can't abandon this game. We're now too far in. We're 75 minutes in, and if the referee abandons this game, all is going to be uproar. Certainly from the Burnley side of things. It's just, I'm sorry. It's just, I honestly think West Ham Football Club need to have a good look in the mirror on and off the pitch. I'm sorry, but It's just disgraceful scenes. They're deservedly getting beat here, and they're only themselves to blame here. We're a quarter of an hour from the end of the game. I'm sure Lee Mason's going to have time on for all these stupid shenanigans. If you want to protest to the board, do it outside after the match, not during the match. We don't need it. Let's concentrate on what's happening on the pitch. If you want to do things off the pitch, do it outside peacefully after the game. I can understand West Ham fans' frustration. Oh, Lennon a little bit hard there. Referee's going to have to get the yellow card out here. Lanzini is fouled, and it is a yellow card. And Burnley at the moment are 2 points behind Arsenal in the table. As we see the challenge again, it was a bit mistimed there by Lennon. It's certainly a yellow card. And I don't know what that is. I think Gillingham have scored. I think. Because Panini is a Gillingham fan. For those who don't know. And I've got to feel sorry for the youngsters watching here today. Let's just break off for a second. West Ham have a free kick. It comes to Ogbonna now. The West Ham fans, there's a lot of empty seats I can see on the far side. It's just not... I've just got to tell you, that's a foul to Burnley. I feel sorry for the youngsters from both sets of supporters who have come to watch a football game and they're seeing violence. That is not... I've got to say, and these West Ham supporters, are they proper supporters? One's got to ask themselves that. You can understand the frustration. They want to be at the top table. They've got a big stadium, 50, 60,000 people, and I'm afraid to say it has been disgraceful as that ball comes into the area, hooked away by Lawton. But it has been a shambles for West Ham Football Club. Regardless of what happens now for the next sort of 14 minutes, that remains here in this game. Remember, at 5 o'clock, hopefully if things go to time, we'll have the full classified results for you. Let's hope it's not going to be one of these late results we're covering here for you this afternoon. Here's Creswell here for West Ham to Chiati to Collins. I'm sorry to say that the West Ham fans, and some of them are middle-aged, they should know better. They should be setting better behavioural examples to the youngsters, and that is disgraceful, I have to say. Here's West Ham now attacking towards the penalty area. Antonio tries to get the shot in, but he deflects away. But West Ham now dropping down the table like a lead balloon here as Chiati takes it up here to find Collins. And I have to say, West Ham United Football Club at the moment are a disgrace to themselves and to everyone associated with the club. The security here at the London Stadium has been absolutely terrible. And you know, we should be talking about a terrific away performance at the moment from the Clarets. And on the verge possibly of Europa League football as the shot comes in from 20 yards over Nick Pope's bar for a goal kick. It just sums up West Ham's afternoon in a nutshell, really. Lanzini firing over. We should be talking about Burnley and potentially qualifying for a Europa League place next season. And all we're unfortunately having to talk about here is protests against the West Ham board by a section of the supporters, or so-called supporters, who should have been doing it outside the crowd after the game, not during the match. And then silly supporters have come onto the field. One such incident where a corner flag was put in the centre circle. I just cannot understand why that has been. There's all sorts of going on, and poor old David Moyes, I don't think you can blame him for what happened here. He's trying to pick up the pieces after a season really that started off so diabolically under Simon Milic. He's trying to put things right, David Moyes. There's been a red card at Goodison Park, where Everton are on their way to 3 points anyway against Brighton. Anthony Knockaert, who was superb last week against Arsenal, the game we covered, unfortunately has been sent off. We don't know what for. Here's a chance now inside the area for Goodmanson. Can Burnley wrap it up with a third? They've kept their heads above everything else. AFC Fylde in the Championship are 7-1 up against Aldershot. That's a good result for them. Probably the best footballing team in Blackpool at the moment. Fleetwood struggling, Blackpool struggling in League One, but Fylde flying at the moment against Aldershot. As that comes over towards Chicharito. Surely was fouling his man there, but he's allowed to go on. 10 minutes to play, still 2-0 to Burnley. Still Chicharito into Lanzini. Now back to Hernandez once again. Chicharito Hernandez. Now gets the cross in towards the 6-yard box, and that's a header from Arnautovic straight at Nick Pope. Either side that goes in. But maybe justice was done really, because the Chicharito in the build-up had clearly, I thought, spelled Stephen Ward, but it didn't matter anyway, because the Arnautovic header was straight at Nick Pope. Pretty tame header in actual fact. Pope did just enough. Man of the match, I've got to say Nick Pope. Those two saves were crucial really, because they felt the foundations for a second half where Burnley cut loose, brought Chris Wood on, and now could be on for third. Keeper's lost it. It could be 3. It is 3. I don't believe this. Chris Wood has got a double, and Burnley go 3-0 up. This is amazing scenes here at the London Stadium here. Burnley are cutting loose big time in the second half. I've got my hands aloft in the air. 3-0 to Burnley. And 7th place will be cemented again, and now they will be, without a shadow of a doubt, 2 points behind Arsenal, who have to play Watford tomorrow. And Burnley go 3-0 up, and they've really taken advantage of the unrest here at the London Stadium. Joe Hart, another mistake by him. Surely he can't be England's number 1 on that evidence. Oh my goodness. This is dreamland for Burnley Football Club. 3-0. And this really is an amazing turn of events here. We never expected in a month of Sundays to be seeing this. And if there's more, well, it could cue more unrest, I'm afraid. It's just been a woeful afternoon for West Ham, and there's more trouble now. The boardroom, I think the directors' lounge is being attacked here, and hopefully there'll be no more pitch invasions as well, which we don't want to see. The referee's got on with it straight away before any other trouble happens. But it's a deserved 3-0 victory at the moment. 2-0 to 2-2 between Oldham Athletic and Bury in the Champions in the League One. There, that's a big scoreline at the bottom of League One, but it's a big scoreline today. And a big win for Burnley. It's going to be 6 points from the last 2 games. 2-1 against Everton last week. 3-0 this week. Possibly, maybe more this week. Oh, dear me. I'll tell you what. Burnley, I've got to give Burnley an awful lot of credit. And this is not me saying this from the heart because I'm a Burnley fan. But the way the team have coped with all that problem, the pitch invasions and everything like that, is absolutely unbelievable. They've really acted in a very professional manner, and I think they need to be applauded, the Burnley players. But the West Ham fans have let their team down. They've got every right to voice opinions, the West Ham fans. I've got nothing against them voicing an opinion, but do it after the game. It's not helping their players on the field, although it's working in Burnley's favour. Here's Creswell for West Ham, who will now look a well-beaten side. And then 2 saves from Nick Pope have really made the difference, as Antonio shoots woefully over the bar from something like 20 yards out. And a goal kick it is. And now there's problems there. Golden Sullivan being led out of the director's box. There's obviously uproar there. He's having a word or two with the security. I don't know whether he's been hit or something, but he's certainly left the building in some discomfort. I've just seen John Motson there. I don't think he's seen anything like this in his commentary career. He's sitting there watching the game in his sheepskin, and he's not commentating, by the way. But look at that. That is a scene I would never thought. There's obviously something going on here, and one has to be honest here. You can protest all you want, but do it after the game. Yes, some people can create their own stones and get upset, but this is absolutely disgraceful. The West Ham fans, you can protest all you want, but it's not going to make a blinding difference here. And it's affecting the players. Cheer the team on the field, try and support them, but take your issues with the board after the game. Here's Antonio for West Ham. 3-0. It's looking very ugly here, I'm afraid to say, at the London Stadium. Burnley deservedly 3 up. They played terrifically well getting those 3 goals. Now David Gold is leaving with his missus. I don't know where Karen Brady is actually. I've not seen her in the crowd today, but there's some unrest at the club, I'm afraid, and I'm sure there'll be more said and wrote about this in the papers and on television in the next sort of few days, because I think it needs to be highlighted what's going on here. And Goodmanton is fouled meanwhile on the field. Free kick to Burnley. Clear foul by Collins. 5 to go. 4.5 minutes to go. And it feels like a throwback to the bad old days. It really does. I'm afraid to say West Ham could well be in hot water with the Premier League for this. They should be. I think the Premier League will have to throw the book at them for failing to control their supporters. Gillingham have gone 3 up at Portsmouth, so Panini's very happy that they've scored Lee Martin. That's a famous football name. Second goal, Lee Martin, not the Lee Martin who scored in 1990 against Crystal Palace in the FA Cup, but a different Lee Martin. He's got a second goal in that game, and Gillingham on their way to a big 3 points at Pratton Park. Meanwhile, here at the London Stadium, which is absolutely boisterous with anger from the West Ham fans, but the Burnley fans making themselves heard. And here they are on the break with Wood, but he's offside this time. Oh, Collins was a little bit hard there. I know he needs to get the ball back, but let Chris Wood just move away. 3.5 minutes, the game is up for West Ham, I'm afraid. There may be at least 2 or 3 more minutes at the end, but I'm afraid to say the West Ham fans, a lot of the good supporters have stayed and tried to support the team, but I'm afraid there's been some ugly scenes down on the near side stands where supporters have just congregated in front of the director's box, and as you can see, poor old Sir Trevor Brooking he's a West Ham legend, and he must be, well, he's putting a brave smile on things, but there's something badly wrong here, and I feel sorry for people like Sir Trevor Brooking who given all their footballing life to the football club, and there's police getting involved, the Metropolitan Police getting involved. It's all getting a little bit feisty out there now, I'm afraid. I'm reporting on what is a real crowd scene. Sam Vokes back on the field. You're not missing any action at the moment. It's just purely and simply the ball's been passed around from side to side, and at the moment the cameras are just, as that ball is left in towards Arnautovic, you have to say, if he takes that chance in the first half, then it could have been a different story, but thankfully from a Burnley perspective, they've come out and they've survived the first half. And Nick Pope, well, I have to say he's done his England credentials no harm at all today. His 2 magnificent saves has been the springboard to a great performance, and here's one through the middle, and I thought for a moment he was going to get on behind there. Absolutely respect for the Burnley players, allowing children to sit on their bench for safety reasons. Absolutely quite right, and well done to Burnley. In fact, I think Burnley should win a lot of friends for that. Meanwhile, Ashley Barnes about to come on, and the Burnley supporters here giving a good reception. He got the first one, and Ireland could well be on to win the Six Nations if England fail to lose the Six Nations full time. They've just finished at Lansdowne, at the Aviva Stadium on Lansdowne Road, as Barnes comes off and Sam Vokes comes on. Ireland 28, Scotland 8, so any chance of Scotland have of winning the Six Nations, I'm afraid, is gone. Although they've probably had a better tournament under Gregor Townsend. Some terrific wins against France and England, of course, 2 weeks ago. England must win in France now, and at the moment's underway in that game. And if they don't win, Ireland will win the Six Nations and could wrap up the Grand Slam next week at Twickenham against England, of course. Meanwhile, here in the Premier League, it's West Ham 0, Burnley 3. Here's Goodmanson now in towards Vokes, and Vokes almost getting it through there. They are oozing all the confidence now, Burnley. They've just really gone about their business, not worried about what's happened off the pitch, and have been truly professional in the way they performed. And I've got to say, well done for Burnley for giving the kids a spot on the bench, and that is really good. I think Burnley will win a lot of football, and there's a lot, and you know, even in these big days as that cross comes in, it's out of play for a goal kick. In these days of highly paid football, there's still, I'm pleased to say, still a lot of honour in the game. And Burnley should be proud of themselves for that. And James Collins here, what's he doing? Sorry, Marco Arnautovic, what's he doing? Let Nick Pope take his kick. We're into stoppage time. We haven't had any indication down on the bench how long is to go in stoppage time. Well, we played 25 seconds of time added on. To me, if I was Lee Mason, I'd just blow up now and just finish the game, because the way this is turning out for the Burnley, listen, Burnley have won the game. Let's just pack up and go home. Let the West Ham fans do their talking off the pitch. Then they can do as much as they want then afterwards. Let's just get the game finished. We're still waiting on confirmation of time added on. We haven't seen the fourth official yet putting anything on there, but we've played a minute of the stoppage time. So 1 minute has gone. We're waiting for us to 2 actually. Maidstone have won against Torquay by the looks of it. Leicester have gone 4-1 up at West Brom, and it's been that sort of afternoon. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of reaction here as we come towards the end. It is good night West Brom now from the Premier League, deep into time added on at the end. Burnley comfortable winners. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll bring you the full classified results, because we think we'll need to sit down afterwards. I need to have a little lie down before bringing you the classifieds. But it's a big result for Burnley this, as we're now perilously close to the end of the game. West Ham, a well-beaten team. They were good in the first half, should have been 2 up arguably, but then Burnley made that substitution, brought up Chris Wood, went 2 up top, and it worked an absolute treat. 2 goals for him, and there goes the whistle. They shook hands 5 seconds before the end, and Shoreditch making his way quickly down the tunnel. Burnley fans, Burnley players applauding their fans because they were superb to a man today. They rode the storm for 45 minutes when Nick Pope made 2 magnificent saves to deny Arnautovic and Lanzini, when Lanzini actually looked on to score. But then in the second half, Burnley just then cut loose. Barnes scoring the first after 66 minutes, Wood scoring 4 minutes later, having come on as a substitute, and then after a mistake from Joe Hart, Wood pounced on the rebound to make it 3-0. They keep 7th place. What a finish, what a game. But for West Ham, Mark Noble was attacked by a supporter. There was a fan that stupidly came on and planted a corner flag on the centre spot. There are unrest at the ground. There's got to be a lot of absolute stuff written about this towards the West Ham board as they make their way out of the stadium. But I'm afraid it's been a disastrous afternoon for West Ham United Football Club. Not just today, but possibly in its entire history. Well, let's not talk about the troubles. Let's talk about Burnley's performance. Nick Pope, man of the match in my opinion. He deservedly gets that vote. There's Sir Trevor Brooke is sitting there. As well, how must he be feeling? A West Ham legend through and through, seeing all that disgusting scenes. James Collins wearily making his way up, but it's those Burnley fans who will be going home happy. 3-0 winners. But I'm afraid to say the game has been marred by some ugly scenes here at the London Stadium, unfortunately for West Ham United. But delight for the Clarets. In the end, quite deserved and worthy 3-0 winners over a poor West Ham team who quite simply, apart from the first 45 minutes, were simply not good enough. And that's good to see the West Ham fans actually pulling the Clarets off the field at the end. Good to see. But we're going to take 5 minutes, and then it'll be the full classified results. But what a win here on the Clarets Match Live.